Awesome. Hey guys and girls, Poketon King here, back with another video of the Friday Night TCG Talk. I am joined by Max, and we're going to be discussing all things Pokemon, TCGs, and probably Metazoo as well, because we have to talk about that. So how are you doing?
Yeah, good, thank you. How are you?
Yeah, not bad, not bad. I was like kind of sort of excited to get a lot more of these episodes filmed. People were quite... The last one I did just did over 1,000 views, which I was quite surprised with.
Really good.
So sitting down watching people talk for an hour and a half is kind of like something that I didn't think people would want, but apparently they do. So we're here. So we're going to kick things off with Pokemon. Obviously, that's the thing that we met through 5 years ago now. Pokemon, TCG, collecting and investing. Obviously, the term investing and collecting is kind of thrown around a little bit. People like to use the term investing, some like to use the term collecting, and people think that either or are kind of the same. So how do you think that's changed over the last 5 years really, since we've kind of had this boom, post boom now? We obviously had kind of a pre-boom with 2019 with like Hidden Fates and stuff. How do you think Pokemon's sitting now in 2024?
I think it's definitely a lot more competition now. I think that's obvious. It used to be a lot easier. If you remember the prices in 2019, 2020, it's because there was just less people fighting to get the stuff. Now there's so many people focused on it. I mean, it is a lot harder to spot opportunities, but there are opportunities everywhere. I think depends what your budget is, you know.
Yeah. Yeah, for sure.
Yeah, I've been so dedicated to this collecting though. Like personally, for the past 6-7 years, it's been Tesco meal deals, it's been Primark clothes, it's been my lifestyle, trying to keep it as cheap as I can so I can put all my money into collecting. I've been so committed to it. I'm sure you've been the same.
Yeah, I think it's the way to do it. I think a lot of people talk about, they throw around things like grails, and they throw things, they sort of talk about things that they've spent years trying to get. I've been trying to search this for years. And sometimes I do question the resources they put in to get those. I think, especially now, Pokemon, obviously, as you said, is saturated with the amount of people that have their eyes on it. They're collecting, they've got notifications up, but at the same time as a lot of people, I think, are going for the same things. So if you are going for things that they aren't, I think, as you said, the opportunities are still there. And I think people having that commitment towards it, whether it's specific cards, specific Pokemon, graded, sealed, where Pokemon is such a varied thing. We've all sort of changed our journey over the last couple of years of what we set out to collect. Maybe we achieved those goals, maybe those changed over the years. I think that happens, and it's quite naturally. I think the things I've collected over the years changed. There was always a constant theme. But I've added and sort of removed things over the years. What are the kind of things that is there things that you are collecting now that you weren't a couple of years ago, or has it kind of been quite a sort of straightforward journey?
I would say I'm putting so much more into modern now than I used to. But that might be because buying vintage at a decent price isn't a thing anymore. You can't really pick up black and white XY anymore for what we used to pay. So you kind of do look at the new cheapest and oldest thing. So I guess like Sun and Moon or early Sword and Shield, whatever. You look at like what's still affordable but getting quite old. I guess that's the next thing you go and look at. So those eras. I mean, Sun and Moon will become the new XY soon, and then XY will become the new black and white essentially. So
yeah, I think it makes sense with that, and we did actually talk about the nostalgic factor to that the other day, where I was talking about the pandemic and the nostalgia people are going to have for that, and the effect on Sword and Shield era. Obviously, we know that was printed to levels that we hadn't seen since probably the unlimited versions of a lot of the Wizard of the Coast sets. But the amount of people involved in the hobby, that a lot of them have left now. Some people stayed and they went, this is actually something I really enjoy. The community aspect is something that I think has kept a lot of people around, whether it's, on Discords or in Instagram, Facebook groups, whatever, even just like meetups at events and card shows. The community aspect of it has grown massively. It's no longer a thing where people will, play just around someone's house or at a card store now.
Oh no,
I see people in coffee shops.
I'm proud to tell
It's
strangers
mad.
that I deal with Pokemon. Like, it's not embarrassing
Yeah.
anymore at all. It's almost like I'm flexing. I'm like, yeah, I do Pokemon. Yeah, it's come a long way, very long way. It's not frowned upon really anymore, is it?
No. I think you can. Yeah. I mean, I'm sure as you do. I remember the days of going into Argos, and buying they had the free English packs and a promo or something, and I'd be like, oh, can I have a look at the ones you have? And they'll be like, oh, okay, and I'll be like, oh, it's just for my brother or something.
Yeah,
it's like,
it's always for my little.
I didn't know. Yeah, it's always for a brother or a cousin. You didn't want to admit it was for you, and it seems so silly, really, when we look back at it and trivial, but it makes sense where Pokemon was in terms of like pop culture at the time. You know, we've had these trends over the years. You know, comic books were looked down upon. Then obviously the MCU happened, and superhero movies became pretty much the main movies at cinemas, and it kind of adjusted a little bit with that. And I think obviously we've seen that with Pokemon, and it's interesting because Pokemon is its obviously own self, and anything you talk about, whether it is just Pokemon cards or the Pokemon video games, you know, Pokemon Go helped with that as well. But with other TCGs, I think that the stigma is still there for a lot of them.
Yeah.
I think TCGs like One Piece is probably less so because One Piece is such a cultural phenomenon. You know, so many people have read the mangas or watched the anime or the live action series. So I think One Piece is in itself its own thing, like Pokemon is.
Yeah.
But, you know, I think I wouldn't want to openly walk on the street and admit that I play Magic the Gathering still, because somebody's probably going to spit on me.
I hear that.
But yeah, I think the modern part of it, I think, is really important, because often we've discussed and talked about things that people will say, you know, I think this is a bad thing to pick up, or I think this is a bad investment, or this is a really bad set, or this is a bad era. It's always obviously that negative connotation side of it. And we look back at sets, and we've talked about this before, you know, sets like Emerging Powers, which literally has nothing to offer.
So bad.
There's
It's
two
so
full
bad.
arts. Yeah, it's the single worst set Pokemon ever made.
Yeah.
But those boxes are expensive now, and there's nothing in there. Like, you know, I don't see anybody going for a PSA 10 set of, you know, the holos or the full arts. I remember back then, you know, the reverse holo Pokemon Catcher, just because of its playability, was the most expensive card in the set. And I don't see us having sets like that again. I mean, we look at Rebel Clash and people talk about that, but there's still full arts in it. You know, there's still a lot of ultra rares.
Tiered rarity is something that is really important, and they just didn't really do a good job of it, I guess, with that Emerging Powers. But I think they've got it now. Like, they know not to mess it up again. They know what the people want, and they've got so much money now. Like, it's difficult for them to mess it up. Like, they've got people with such a budget. They can say, right, well, this isn't a good idea. We should do this. You know, I think they're smashing it at the moment, even with all the negativity of Scarlet Violet. I think they are still smashing it.
Yeah.
I think they're good. It's just that there's just such an abundance of them at the moment. It's hard to absorb all that supply. So people think, oh, it's shit. It's rubbish. It's £75, £80 a box. It's finished. I don't think so. I think we've just got a big flood of supply at the moment. And it's just going to take a little while to get rid of it. I mean, I'm not going to lie. 10 billion cards is a lot to print. Like, a lot in 1 year. It's a lot. I'm thinking that's going to take a while to absorb that. But we've got not just you know, the collectors from back in the day. We've got a lot more people now, and we've also got things like Whatnot. So packs are just getting shredded left, right, and centre. It will get burnt through. These are good sets. I mean, late Sword and Shield, I think, is really, really good. Great opportunity, in my opinion, at the moment. Like, so cheap. And these sets I think they're as good as Late Sun and Moon. And Late Sun and Moon are like all the way up there now. So personally, I think I'm happy to buy them.
Those tag team sets
they're special.
They're pretty special. They are pretty special. Yeah,
they are. I've seen Team Up. How well that's doing.
Yeah, Team Up was like I was seeing packs of it for like, was it 50? I think maybe even more now. I think things like that is like not so much under the radar, but there's just so much in Pokemon that you can't keep your eyes on all of it at once. So that's the beauty of it, that people are collecting and investing in specific things, and obviously they'll kind of understand the nuances behind, what's happening there. But when we look at, as you said about the Scarlet Violet era, I think, and I've said it before and I'll say it again, I think Paldea Evolved is actually one of the strongest sets they've made in many years. I think the EV on that is the best out of any Scarlet Violet set, and it is better. When I went through it, bar 4 sets in Sword and Shield, it's better than the rest of them, bar 4. Just because there's so much in that set. It's when we look at it in terms of like overprinting, right? So I don't think that the Scarlet Violet era is printed any more than Sword and Shield was, but I think that the demand has dropped off. Obviously, we are now officially, in a recession in here in the UK, which is, let's go. That's great to hear. We love that for us.
So good.
But we look at that and think, right, Japan has also just entered a recession. And obviously we both kind of met through Japanese collecting, really. And we've seen the prices of modern Japanese just drop and drop. And Japan to UK now, they sell them for like £45 a box, which means if they're selling them at £45 a box, we know how cheap they are over in Japan.
Yeah. I was very surprised to see that. I think they've gone as low as like 37 per box. So, which is insane.
That's good.
Like, I mean, it's good. Yeah. It's good for the people over here. I mean, gone are the days of like 200 a box or whatever they used to ask. And when the new sets are coming out. Yeah. So change their ways. I mean, the margins are so thin now for these new Japanese sets in the UK. I've seen the prices drop so low that there's actually no point importing them from Japan at the moment.
No,
because like when you take into account customs and shipping, like you might as well just buy from the UK at this point for certain sets, which is interesting because we've not seen that for years. I don't think we've seen that since like Sun and Moon.
No. I think Sword and Shield. I know the set EV Heroes was the one that boomed it, but even before then, boxes were starting to be a little bit harder to get. It's weird. It's not weird. It's something that I wanted for ages. I stopped collecting modern Japanese because of the price rises, and imports became silly and shipping fees became absorbent. So I was like, I kind of just lost the love for that. But I have been picking up boxes of every set for Japanese now. Again, I haven't been opening. I think the love for me for opening Pokemon now is kind of gone, which is good actually, because it's, as we know, it's financially a better decision to make keeping it sealed. But it's definitely good to be able to pick those up. There's definitely a couple of sets. I know that you've spoken about it on your channel and on the Instagram page. Some sets that are kind of, ones to be looking out for. I did buy a lot of the Ruler of the Black Flame for the reasons that you basically said. It's anything that has a Charizard. These iconic Pokemon on the front of boxes. History shows us that those perform well.
I think
it's
one thing to remind yourself as well is that box isn't always going to be new. In 4 years, the box isn't new anymore. It's an out of print Charizard set. Is it really going to still be £30, £40, whatever? Like, just to me, it's just such a come on. This is an obvious opportunity right here. Like, so that one I stocked up on as well. I think it's not going to be instant results. It might take 2-3 years, but I think it's a Charizard set, and it's going to be out of print at some point. So you know what happens to those. Yeah.
It speaks for itself. I look at some of the Sun and Moon sets that I bought, sold, collected, opened over the years, and some of them are just. I mean, even to be fair, Sword and Shield. I think anything with a Rayquaza on it seems to just do ridiculously well.
Yeah, the big three, man: Lugia, Rayquaza, and Charizard. They just seem to.
Yeah.
Although Pikachu's smashing it at the moment, I must say, the last year, Pikachu I feel like's almost overtaken Charizard, or probably has.
Pikachu's kind of not. I'm not happy about it because it's costing me more as a Pikachu collector. We're getting so many promos. They'll release. I know the Evolving Skies art has been released about 8 times with different little stamped promos on. There's new promo things now in Europe where stores get them, like kind of play promos, but the US doesn't, and we don't get them. And there's ones that New Zealand are getting. There was one that New Zealand got as COVID dropped, so they basically weren't given out. And I think stores had just forgotten about them. So it's kind of like, Gibson Collectibles, Elliot, will show me a photo, be like, oh, I picked this Pikachu up or something. And I'm like, where do I get it? And he's like, oh, I've spoken to this guy that spoke to this guy from a store here that picked it up there. And I'm just like, this is exhausting.
Yeah.
So it's definitely, yeah, I mean, I knew what I was into when I decided to be basic and collect Pikachus. It was just, what to happen. But yeah, I think it's almost so obvious with collecting sealed. If you were just somebody that entered the hobby, or somebody that just walked past the street, you went into a shop and you had all these boxes on the shelves, these Japanese boxes. The Pokemon that you're going to kind of recognize are the ones that are the most iconic.
Yeah.
And to you, as somebody that doesn't understand anything about what's inside the set and values and that, you would automatically want to go for those
You'd
boxes,
always,
right?
Yeah, you go for the best box art or the most iconic, right? Definitely, always. So
when we're looking at sort of the collect and investing side of it, if we're not going to do everything, if we're not going to buy a case of every set and we're going to be picky with the sets that we do, it almost looks like we should be kind of remove the emotion out of it, and kind of just bring it back to basics and go, right, it's got a Charizard on the front of it. I'm going to go for this one. This has got a Lugia on. This has got a Pikachu on. And just kind of do it so basic like that. Almost, as I said, like people that don't understand the hobby, because they're the ones that outperform, all of them over time will have this rise. None of them in 5 years' time are going to be £30 a box. But obviously, you want to buy the ones, if they're all the same price now, you want to buy the ones that are going to go up the most, So obviously, to go back to, the collecting investment side of it, do you have a plan? Do you set out a plan, or is it kind of just pick as much up as I can over the years and just see what happens?
Yeah, but mate, probably just that. I mean, I'm trying to see how long I can go without selling anything significant. Like right now, I'm looking for a job, and my current account is not looking good. It's real ugly, but I'm trying so hard not to sell anything significant.
Yeah.
Like maybe a few packs here and there, but never like trying not to sell boxes. I think I've sold 7 boxes in my entire life and bought about 800 now. So I just don't sell. I mean, I guess when I move out, when I need to buy a house or something, then I'd sell some, but I'm trying to just see as long as I can. And I really don't want to sell anything that I don't have a duplicate of as well. So like, if I only have one of this thing, I don't think it's ever going to leave, realistically.
Yeah.
Because I'd be like, I'm going to get that back. Like, just stress having to buy it back later on when it's probably more expensive.
Yeah.
So yeah, just hold.
Yeah, I think it's a good idea. I think if you can afford not to sell any of those boxes, really, it's definitely the best thing you can do. That only selling 7 boxes. I wish I could say the same. I don't know how many hundreds of boxes I've sold over the years.
Yeah.
It's a disgusting amount. I look at sets like Dream League and stuff like that. I kept one of each, but I only kept one of each. It was literally like if I had duplicates. But I think obviously, I suppose our journey has been very different. But I think when it comes to selling, I think it's a very easy to talk about, but taboo sort of subject at the same time, because people buy things and they go, right, I'm going to hold on to this, and then it keeps going up and up, and then there's the argument of value versus liquidity of okay, it's easier to sell 10 boxes at £300 than it is to sell 2 boxes at £1,000.
Yeah.
As the product becomes rarer, it becomes less liquid, then it becomes a smaller buyer pool. I think there's a happy medium there of like between 100 and 1,000, I think, where you've got that, if these boxes that you paid £30 each for hit 300, they're going to be a lot easier to sell than selling them when they hit 1,000.
Yeah.
Is that something, obviously I know you said you don't really sell too much in terms of boxes, and it's kind of like waiting just to see what happens. Is that ever something that you kind of think about?
What, like the worrying about how difficult they'll be to sell? Is that what you mean?
Yeah, the liquidity side of things, yeah.
I think, no, it doesn't bother me because I have I'd say I have quite a vast collection. And when I do go
Yeah.
to sell them, I'll just list everything at a price I'm happy to sell it at. And I'm happy if like only one thing sells every few days. I mean, I'm not
Yeah.
in a rush to like dump all of it, and so I just leave it up there, and then if people want to offer like slight close to the asking price, then we can do that and we can make some deals happen. But I'm not in a rush. I don't think I'd ever be in like a massive rush to sell any of them, so I just sort of leave them there and wait for someone or wait for the price to change into that number. I'm not too worried about liquidity, but I know that it will be an issue for me with certain areas. Like I have an ADV box, Miracle of the Desert, EX Sandstorm.
Yeah.
That's not going to be too easy to sell because, like you say, the buyer pool is very small compared to the buyer pool for a Sword and Shield box. It will definitely take longer, but yeah, I'm not. It doesn't bother me unless something drastic happens and I need to come up with $100,000 like instantly. Then I'd be stressed because I'd be like, right, well these boxes aren't going to all sell overnight. It's I guess I just have to pre-plan. If I've got something big coming up financially, I'll just have to spend the 6 months prior listing stuff, and it will take me some time, but I'll do it.
Yeah, I think diversifying is probably as it's something that we both have done, and I think that's the way you can offset that liquidity issue. A lot of the time, if you've got a wide range, and that's why I was picking up so much English Modern, because I know that that's a lot easier to sell than some of the rarer niche items that I've had in my collection. There's stuff in my collection now, a lot of the tins I know that aren't easy to sell at all because tins aren't the in thing at the moment. They were in for a bit. I capitalized on that when I could. Kind of sort of basically paid for the rest of it just to sit and sort of just see what happens with that. But I think that's why modern English is really good, because the volume of sales is always there. If you've got a base set booster box or a jungle or rocket, there'll always be some streamer wanting to rip it open for a box break. And I think that streaming aspect is something that people haven't added into the equation when they're thinking about selling. That's when people are
a really good point. I was going to say that with these black and white XY diamond and pearl boxes, it's not. I don't need necessarily a strict sale of that entire box. I could then sell it to a streamer, or I could box break myself and break those packs down. Then that buying in a 20th of the price instead of the full price, buying one pack, probably a lot easier to sell that way. So that's something I could consider when the time comes. But yeah, we didn't really have that option. It wasn't as big of an option before, was it? Now it's like a very popular thing to do, box break. So.
Yeah, it's definitely changed the landscape, the collecting and investing side of it, and just the hobby in general. Obviously, we had these big poker tubers, when we were younger. I remember watching people like Prime Time.
Yeah,
big ups Prime Time. Shout out. He was, he was the OG. I remember sending in. I remember there's a video of I sent him dollars. I went down to the post office and traded because I wanted to get some stuff off. What is it called now? Collector's Cash.
Yeah.
And they had all these, like, it was the EX era, the Pikachu and Gibble power pack things.
Yep.
They had those on offer for like $8.99, and we just couldn't get them over in the UK. So I remember I literally sent him, free cards by mail. This used to be back for those that the younger viewers that are watching. FCBMs and TCBMs were massive on YouTube,
and BCBM. Don't forget BCBM.
Yeah, people. Yeah, it's mad. It was literally just so many content creators would just upload the videos, and it would all just be those kind of videos.
So I just got to come back quickly. The FCBMs he got sometimes were literally a stack of gold stars. Like he would literally receive for free 100 gold stars or something. Like, bruh.
Nothing exists, I think, to that level now. I think even the big guys like Leonhardt and PokerRev, I know that they get a lot of people donate content to them, so they'll send them packs to open for them. But they're going to get content out of it, and I know they get sent stuff, but the stuff that Primetime got sent was disgusting.
Yeah,
it was absolutely disgusting.
In today's money, like, it's those people must feel so much like regret. Surely, I mean, I know.
I think a lot of those people probably they're grown up now and they forgot about Pokemon.
I agree. I think probably left the hobby and never come back. Some of them. I mean, if they get rid of their entire Gold Star collection, they're probably done. Like after that,
there's no going back from that. It's they probably saw the hobby booming in 2020 and went, nope, absolutely not. But yeah, I just sent him dollars, and I remember the comments, people saying, you're taking money now off people or something. And I had to explain. I was like 14 at the time, and I think people, we look at 14-year-olds now and they're making TikToks and they're getting done for crime in the streets and stuff. I think, but when I was 14, I was making piano tutorials on YouTube, showing off, my Pikachu binder and sending money to people, in America to buy me stuff. So, the hobby's definitely changed, and I think I like looking back at my older content to see just how much has changed. People like Poker Coops, who is still in the community now. I met with him and traded with him quite a few times when I was younger. It was definitely a different world. But the YouTube landscape and the content, obviously, it was just openings, and that's pretty much it. It was just openings, really. And now it's evolved where people are doing challenges. Spend 1,000 or spend this, and you're seeing people travel around the world doing card shows and Pokemon events. So it's definitely different now, and that streaming side of it with Whatnot and obviously TikTok and stuff does add another layer to this, where you're looking at a product here and you're looking at a box of whatever, Astral Radiance, for instance, and you're thinking, okay, in 5 years' time, because a lot of people, when they say that they want to hold the product, in their mind, a year is a long time.
Yeah.
When in reality, it isn't. Like the Astral Radiance I'm looking at is sitting on my shelf now. It's probably roughly the same price it was when I first got it, and when it first came out. So, but people, there's nothing wrong with wanting to get returns out of something if you're going to put it into something better. I always felt when I was selling stuff, if I was selling a box to then buy a pair of trainers or something, that for me is a bad trade-off right there, because I'm spending that money on something that isn't ever going to gain any value, and it is just purely materialistic. Whereas if I sold that to buy 2 boxes of something else that I thought, what, this could then gain more value than the 1 box, in my mind, I've almost doubled my money instantly right there.
This is why I find it impossible to like buy new clothes or, I don't know, go to nice restaurants. I just can't justify it. I'm like, I'm sitting there, the bill comes, I'm like, that's 4 booster boxes right there. What am I doing? I'm just going to poo that out. It's going to be worthless. It's less than nothing.
Yeah.
Like, what have I done? I just feel guilt. Like, I can't. I'm probably a bit too extreme with it, but there is a balance to be had. I just haven't found it yet.
Yeah. I get what you mean. I was in that place for a while. And I think setting up the business, definitely my outlook on the whole thing has changed. I'm not too hell-bent on keeping everything, because I'm always looking at what opportunities I can, picking up collections. If I sell these things that are at the moment, have gained a ×2 value for me, is something that I always, I look at, something that me and Mike talked about, where if it hits ×2 and there's definitely something that I've got lined up that I want to pick up with that money, then I'll sell it, and then I'll pick up that, whatever it is, a collection, or as long as it's something that I'm buying that I can turn into more money, that £100 becomes £200, becomes £400, almost, in the space of like a week.
Sometimes when you look at the journey of what you started with, and then what you've got now, you're like, how did that happen? Who did I trick to make that happen? Because
what happened here? Who did I gaslight here? But I think a lot of people are looking at their collections, and I noticed this morning eBay sent me I've got 2 months of no fees. Yeah, 2 months of no fees. So obviously I read the stuff that they sent over, and it was basically the HMRC thing, right? People panicking about selling. They think the HMRC are going to come take their dog and their children. And they just might, by the way, for those that are watching. But the average person spends more than what they sell. Let's be honest. We know how expensive this hobby is.
Oh yeah.
For most of us, we've probably put in more than we've sold.
Definitely.
Especially for you, where you haven't sold as much as, myself and a lot of others. So it's just proving to them that you spent more, which is the thing that I think worries a lot of people.
Yeah. If it's as simple as that, I'm going to go ahead and list loads of stuff, because to be honest, it's such a grey area for me with collecting and tax and that.
Yeah.
I literally don't understand, and so I've just stopped selling entirely, pretty much. But I need to get educated on how it works, because it's all such a grey area to me at the moment. You probably know this. We'll talk about it off the call or whatever, but it's very. I think it's scared a lot of people away. I think eBay is doing this because they know that a lot of people have stopped selling, and they're missing out on their sales too, their commission. So they've got to get people back into it. And yeah. Did you see recently they laid off like a lot of their staff as of the new year?
Yeah, they announced they'd be laying off 9% of their total workforce across the world.
That's a lot. That's huge.
Which is that's a lot of people. I think every company is now. We are, I look at the things like the S&P 500. I dabble in stocks. I like to, aside from the things that I can hold in my hand, I kind of like to make sure that I'm prepared for the future.
Yeah.
Even whatever age it is that we're actually going to retire at. The way I'm kind of building my life now is to a point where it's the difference between my everyday life and retirement wouldn't be any different anyway.
Yeah.
But it's definitely an interesting thing, because a lot of companies are laying off, right? eBay obviously announced they're letting 9% of their total workforce away. I think a lot of that is going to be like automated processes in terms of like customer service. I have a friend that works in the authentic side of it. So if people sell things that are worth over a certain money, eBay have to check to make sure it's legit.
Yeah.
They package it up in their little, thing and send it. And he works in that department. And some of the stories I've heard is quite interesting. People selling things like Jordans and sports cards and stuff. But I do wonder how much of that that side of things is gonna be cut, because that is a luxury for them, really. I think that was an investment from them to go, right, we want to compete with, we're seeing things like golden auctions here, a couple of the other ones, PWCC, for instance, that are kind of specialized in collectibles. And I know eBay have like a streaming setup in America, like eBay Live, I think it is.
Yeah, I heard about that.
Which they haven't rolled out over outside of the US at the moment, but they're probably going to be allocating funds into that. That's probably why they're going to be cutting other sectors, allocating funds into things like that, which is future-proofing their model, really, because a lot less people are buying and selling on eBay. If they can buy the same thing and get to watch it, sort of thing, if that makes sense.
Yeah.
So I think the whole model's changing. I think the TikTok live streaming side of it is going to blow up even bigger this year. I know that Fanatics, who bought Tops, they're actually going to be setting up their own streaming site.
Right.
And basically they're going to make it so anyone that's streaming sports cards on TikTok and whatnot don't really have much of a choice to stream on their own platform.
Okay.
Through various things that they're going to be doing.
They're all adapting.
But yeah,
sounds like
exactly.
Yeah.
It's changing. I think has streaming ever been something that you've been interested in?
Nah. I did do Whatnot for like 3-4 streams. I just get so anxious. I get sweaty. Don't know what to say. I'm quite introvert, quite shy. So sitting there for an hour and talking, I find it quite difficult. Also, I'm scared I'm going to slip up and say something I shouldn't say, or
yeah.
Stressful. But I did do quite well on Whatnot when I was streaming. Earned all right money, and I do wish I had a bit more of like an extrovert personality so I could do that more often, but it's just not for me. I also don't like ripping stuff. I know it sounds crazy. I don't actually like opening stuff that much anymore. I used to love it. But I just feel like with Pokemon, the singles are so cheap now. If I want a certain card, I'll just go buy it. I don't really want to rip something and not get it. And I do enjoy ripping Yu-Gi-Oh! Actually. Like, I know I'm not a Yu-Gi-Oh! Collector at all, but it's fun to open. The artworks they're different.
Yu-Gi-Oh! Is,
Yeah, I know you used to open a bit of Yu-Gi-Oh! As well, right? Would you still?
Yeah, Yu-Gi-Oh's. I watch more Yu-Gi-Oh! Openings than any other. I don't really watch like Pokemon or Fab or One Piece openings, but I do. I watch Ruxin. He's probably one of my favorite YouTubers, but I watch Yu-Gi-Oh openings, and I basically, if I buy packs here and there. If I'm at a store and I see some, especially like rarity collection and stuff, I think those sets are really cool. And like obviously when they reprinted the LOB Metal Raiders and all that stuff.
Yeah.
But you know, I basically move on all my Yu-Gi-Oh stuff to UK Blue Eyes. He does all the card shows and stuff, so I basically send him a package. And I'm like, right, I'll drop it off at a card show. I was like, you can have all my Yu-Gi-Oh. I've probably lost money from opening it, but you know, I'm recouping some of that back. But Yu-Gi-Oh is a lot of fun to open. The cards are really cool.
Yeah.
And there's that. It's very different than Pokemon, I think.
It seems more
when
mature,
you're opening,
a bit more serious and mature from some of the artworks. Some of them are crazy, obviously. Like you've got Ojama. Do you remember Ojama? Those things.
Yeah, the Ojama red,
wacky.
Green, and black. Yeah.
Yeah. But then there's some of them are a lot more adult. I guess they're going towards Magic in terms of like they're serious but yeah, there's such a wide range of artwork. I love the weird Yu-Gi-Oh. Yu-Gi-Oh gets so weird sometimes. I love that.
Yeah. It's ultimately why I kind of got into like TCGs. Really, I think bar Pokemon is the artwork side of things. That's how I got into Flesh and Blood. Magic I dabble in sometimes. Again for the artwork.
Yeah.
I think when you're just in Pokemon, you kind of it is kid friendly. It's very child orientated, even though you know the old arts and stuff look stunning now. But it is aimed at those younger audiences. And I think there's a very big difference between the artwork in, you know, Yu-Gi-Oh does both, I think. I think Yu-Gi-Oh kind of dips into both, which I think that's why
I agree.
It works well for them, because they always seem to find a way to bring back collectors. And I don't know if you've seen the Rarity Collection Volume 2 is going to be more like the Magic the Gathering collector boosters. So they're going to be £10 a pack.
Okay.
But they're going to be like stacked basically.
Yeah.
So that'll be interesting. Do you think, moving on from that into sort of what things Pokemon can do in the future, is there anything that you see other TCGs doing that you think Pokemon would be quite wise to, you know, not necessarily copy, but influence by?
Good question. I really like that a few TCGs are doing these like serialized, like seriously rare stuff in their TCG. I don't know if that would be good for Pokemon, because when Pokemon's doing well, it's hard to get even. Do you know when there's nothing even that special in a set? It's hard to even get that. So if there's something insanely special, if they did like first edition or something like that, it would just get too crazy. It would get too expensive. It would get too difficult to get. So I don't think they should necessarily do that. But I like that other TCGs are doing that. I think that's a good thing.
Yeah.
And I kind of wish I feel like Pokemon's missing that, but it's just too volatile. If Pokemon did do that, it would just get too crazy, I think.
Yeah, I think
they could.
Pokemon kind of operates in its own little bubble, really. I think I like serialized cards. I like autos.
I do.
That's definitely being borrowed.
I feel like if Pokemon did that, it would be bloodbath. Like, it'd be too much.
It would be. I mean, we've seen what happens already with like the Arita or autos, and people already like.
Yeah.
You know, Pokemon autos has never been something that I've been interested in. You know, I've never thought about paying to visit an artist. I've signed my card. Like I've met artists in Flesh and Blood, because they're at events, and I think if Pokemon like EUIC, for instance, the international regionals, if they had some artists there that were signing, you know, £20 a card or whatever, or they have like playmats and prints and stuff you can buy, that would be, I think that would be really cool.
Yeah.
Like for Pokemon to do it themselves, like that kind of way of doing it, rather than just like printing, you know, or autos in packs. I think if they did, I would worry that they would do it like Magic do, and Magic basically will print the same artwork in the set, but with a serialized, and it'll be out of 500. And then a couple of sets later, they'll basically reprint the same card, but out of 100. And you're thinking, well,
crazy.
That's the same card, right?
Yeah.
And I would worry that Pokemon would focus less on putting the good stuff in their sets if they could just chuck. You know, they'd have a crap set, but they'd be like, well, there's a Charizard auto in it, so people are going to buy it.
Good point.
And I think, I think Pokemon's. I think it would just be an absolute bloodbath. There's definitely things that I would like them to try do. But I don't think, because it's constantly evolving. I think we've had these old arts now, and people are used to them. They're the bare minimum, right? Like, we need those illustration art rares in the sets. We have all that, these trainer galleries or whatever they're called now. But I think people are less focused on rarities now and more focused on the actual art of the card.
Yeah.
Like, people that where you get so many hits in a box now, I think people don't care what necessary rarity it is, but is it nice itself? You know, we look at hollows. I think I would argue they should get rid of hollows. They're one per pack, and there's nothing for them. Like, the cards aren't. They're not
special.
Yeah, they're not special
for a long time. I mean, since like Black and White, they've just not really been. You know, there's not really been much point, because V cards are so cheap that they are basically the hollows now. So and then they're so common as well. Like, there's no hollows are just
I think hollows are done. I think I would love, and I'm sure that you would as well, was for them to bring back EX era reverse hollows.
Mate, come on. They were the best. They were so good. In fact, I would actually go as far as to say English EX era was better than Japanese Japanese EX era. Because of that reverse hollows. I feel like even the card quality was really good back then as well for English. So, I mean, it's probably a lot more effort for them to do the EX era reverse hollows, because they had to, choose parts of the artwork that were going to be hollow, and that must take time. But, man, that extra effort went such a long way. Like, I'm today collecting them, and I love them. EX era reverse hollows. They're like my favorite thing right now. So
they are special. The little stamp, and I liked how the stamp of the logo wasn't just a straight up stamp. It was in theme with what the set was. So you had the colors that I look at Crystal Guardians, I look at Unseen Forces. I liked in early EX era, not the early, but like Fire Red Leaf Green, when they had like the Pokeball stamp on the card. Rare reverses with a gold lettering. It just hit different.
There's a lot. It's crazy, because that was a time when they were probably doing their worst, but they were putting in the most effort. And now they're doing their best. They're like kind of slacking sometimes with that sort of stuff. Like, reverses need to do. They could be doing a lot better with the reverses.
I think so.
Aren't they?
Yeah, you get 2 per pack. You get 1 hollow per pack. So you're guaranteed 3 foils per pack. But when everything is, special, then
it's
nothing special.
And
I think I'm not saying let's get a set like Emerging Powers, but there's definitely like a fine line of it feeling like a chase when you are opening the packs, rather than now. I mean, the artwork's really nice, but there's absolutely no value to opening Pokemon. I'm not saying, there has to always be a positive EV opening stuff, because that's not the case. But when you open stuff and 9 times out of 10, the card's not going to be worth more than £2, it's like, there's no incentive. Like, if I was a store that sold Pokemon singles, like, I do sell singles, but only of stuff that I do open, which is rare. There'd be zero incentive for me to crack a box of Pokemon packs. I'd say I pay 85, 90 quid at distro. I'm not even going to get 50 quid back. So why am I going to sell the singles to my customers to then lose half my money?
Yeah, it doesn't make sense, does it? You got to think with business mind as well now. Like, it just doesn't make any sense to do that.
It's not a financially viable option. No. I think I look at other TCGs, One Piece, Flesh and Blood. The EV in a lot of sets is good. I think the most recent Fab set is some of the best EV I've ever seen out of any TCG, just because it's a good mix of the cards being very, very playable and meta-driven, and the cards are also, there's tons of collector's items in there. So it's like, that's what I think Pokemon need to do, because Pokemon's such a cheap TCG to play. I think it's actually the cheapest game to play. I think you can build a very viable deck for about 50 quid, which which is a cost of about one card for a viable deck in a Fab set, or Yu-Gi-Oh or Magic, for instance. But yeah, it's definitely interesting. What is there on the TCGs that you kind of collect, bar Yu-Gi-Oh and Pokemon, or is it just those two?
Not really, no. Every so often, if I'm on a UK website and I'm adding stuff to my basket, I'll throw in a little Magic pack. I don't even know what I'm buying, or Flesh and Blood pack, or anything, or Digimon. Just it'd be fun to open a box in 10 years and see it there and be like, oh look, I've got this. What's this worth? Or is this that feeling? But yeah, no, nothing. I don't really collect anything specific other than those two. I bought a tiny bit of Metazoo, which we can talk about that in a minute. That'd be fun.
Yeah.
I just those two. Pokemon, it's sealed, and Yu-Gi-Oh to open. That's it really for me. But just quickly, I did think of something where you were talking about something I would improve about Pokemon, or like something that would help it for Japanese specifically, because I deal with it. They need, people have been saying this for a long time. They need to improve the reseal issue. So like the box film is just plain, there's nothing on it. So they could first of all do what English does and put a little Pokeball stamp on that or something. Secondly, the actual way the box works, you can get into it without pulling that tab off. I don't know if you've seen, you can literally just open that.
You can on the sides.
I don't know why they still haven't done anything about it. Like it is a problem. I mean, maybe they put people off. I don't understand why they haven't fixed it, but that I would love for them to fix that, because honestly it would make buying stuff so much less stressful for me. So if you buy a set months after it came out, you've always got that risk of it being resealed, especially if it's an expensive set. More incentive to do it. It's like 151 right now. I'm scared to buy 151. I'm terrified to buy 151 because I don't know if it's going to be resealed, and I've spent so much money to get it. Like, I just wish they could fix that.
Yeah, it's weird how they haven't done that in all the years. I mean, I know they changed the boxes with a rip tab, but it hasn't done anything.
It's not even. Yeah.
So it does seem a bit strange how they haven't. It's all, I don't know, but I know the Japanese are very stubborn, and they're very set in their ways, and they don't like to. It's more about, we're not changing our way of doing things, you can change yours, but that's a very idealistic view to have when, boxes of 151 are like 200 now or whatever, and if you want to buy boxes, it's like, well, is it resealed or is it not? Like, I don't know. It's very hard to tell now.
Yeah.
Even for someone as yourself who has a lot of knowledge and experience in it, when you're buying online, for instance, holding it in person would be better, but obviously you can't until you have it in your hand, and then by that point it's probably too late.
Yeah. And then people, another thing that happens, like you might go to buy one from someone in the UK, and you ask them about the authenticity of it, and they're like, "Oh, it's fine. I got it from Japan." It's like, but who's to say that person in Japan didn't buy it from someone else that resealed it? Like, it's just, even reputable names, sometimes you can get a box that's dodgy off them because they might have picked up a little bit of supply off this guy who. So it's just what I'm saying is, like, with that stamp or with just extra measures, this wouldn't be an issue at all. People could confidently buy these boxes and not have to worry, and that would be nice. Be a lot less stress. So hopefully one day.
That would be. Yeah, I think it'd be nice to see Pokemon Japan actually change something for once. But we'll circle back to Metazoo now, because you mentioned it, and I'm not going to shy away from talking about Metazoo here. So, basically, talk about kind of your first thoughts of Metazoo when you first saw it announced, and kind of what led you to sort of buy some.
So, I actually quite like the art style. I know it's a complete rip-off of old school Pokemon, but I did like it. It was charming, and I like the idea of all these cryptids and stuff like that. I thought that's an interesting idea for a TCG. And I also like going against the grain a little bit. I like annoying people, like being devil's advocate. If everyone's shitting on something, I'll sorry, am I allowed to swear?
Yeah, that's fine.
Yeah, so if everyone's I don't know, hating on something, I like to give it a go and see, try and play devil's advocate a bit. And I did. And I know I annoyed a few people because I was like, Metazoo's going to do really well and all that. But it was just fun. I like being along for the ride. I've had the boxes. I paid a certain amount. They went all the way up here. They've gone all the way back to where they started. I'm still holding. It was a fun journey. I liked the ride. going up and down. I loved hearing the criticisms, the memes, everything along the way was so entertaining. And I'm not that deep into it. I think I've probably like 100, 150 pounds in, so it's not like I've lost anything. Yeah. It's just been an exciting journey, and I think it's a funny climax it's had. Like they've just rug pulled. Everyone's fucked. Everyone's.
Yeah, I think no, I think it's I remember getting 4 packs when Paul got some. Shout out to EPR Gaming, EPR Breaks. I got 4 packs from him, and I had received the cards, and I pulled quite a good foil from it. And I held the cards in my hand, and I was like, oh, the art's kind of funky. Like, it definitely looks like I've asked a 5-year-old to draw Pokemon cards. But there was definitely a magic and allure of that, with that kind of art style. And the idea, the basis of it, the cryptics, was really cool as well. So that was enough for me to go, okay, I'll dabble in it. I'll get some packs. And I remember receiving the cards myself, and I felt them, and I was like, God damn, these are flimsy as fuck. I'm not a fan of these. So I sold the foils to someone. I think I paid about, he did the packs for retail, so I think I paid like 20 quid all in.
Yeah.
For 4 packs. I sold the hollows for about 50 quid at the time, I think. And then the non-foils I've got somewhere in a drawer somewhere. Where it was just a case of like, I thought I'd keep it because I'll look back at them and it'll remind me of a moment, like whether it's special or not. I'm sort of quite a sentimental person. And I picked up some other bits. I think it was the second set. I picked up one of the spell books because the spell books looked really cool. I thought that was quite an interesting product.
Yeah.
And then I picked up a box as well, Nightfall or something, maybe. I think that was. So I was like, oh, I'll keep those. And obviously the journey that Metazoo's had, I think with my experience in Flesh and Blood, and that kind of translates to the Magic world as well. And then it kind of translates to a lot of high-end collectors and investors in TCGs. I saw people put in substantial amounts of money into Metazoo. And their only intention was obviously to make money, as you do. But then I saw the decisions that, the things that are being happening with Metazoo. I saw Steve Aoki got involved. And I think that for a lot of people was like, this is big. Like, you add a big name onto things. And I think that's an easy way to sell a TCG. Add big names onto it, because then people will follow that, right?
Yeah.
And then you had Gary King Pokemon get involved, who I'm not a fan of. I've expressed my opinions on him in the past. I think he's a fat nonce. I'm shouting him out here. I'm not a fan at all. I think he chases whatever's trendy and he wants to pump and dump stuff. He has no care. He obviously went on Pawn Stars with the Pokemon stuff because he knew it'd get him out there. He didn't have any intention to sell. He is he's purely someone that got in early, through luck, and has kind of dick rided it on till now. And then when it hit the boom, then he was like, oh, look at all the stuff that I've got. And it's like, cool. Good for you. And then Metazoo came and he thought, okay, well, I'll pump and dump this. It'll be the next Pokemon. Because I was there at the start of Pokemon. I made my money. Now I want to make some more money.
Yeah.
So you see him, with Metazoo and stuff, and they're pumping and dumping and stuff. And sets are coming out. Like, sets seem to be doing quite well. Some boxes are sitting there, but people were enjoying it, right? I think people were collecting it and playing it with their kids and stuff, which is good. And I never had any issues with like the community side of it. Because I think at the end of the day, if people want to collect and play something and they enjoy it, right? I understand why they did. But obviously in the end, Mike Waddle, it was a massive rug pull, and the whole thing was defined as a pump and dump, which at the start it was so obvious, but I think over the time it came out, I think people warmed to it a little bit more. I think people went, oh, do you know what? Okay. They're still releasing sets. They did the Arby's collaboration. The Hello Kitty collab I thought was amazing, but I know it didn't go well. I think in the end the boxes were like really cheap, but the idea of it, the Sanrio side of it, I thought that's actually pretty cool. Hello Kitty
It's like the second
as of
biggest brand, isn't it, in the
yeah,
world? So
yeah, second biggest IP as of when they did the collaboration. I'm not sure now. I don't know if that's damaged it or anything, but Hello Kitty obviously is massive. So for them, that was big. That was a big move, and they obviously got themselves into a lot of debt over that collaboration. And ultimately, Mike's run away with the money. A lot of people have pre-orders. They can be completely fucked over. So yeah, for those that do have heavy bags in Metazoo, I feel bad for you. I don't think that's good.
But
That's not healthy for anyone.
also, this is a dream. This won't actually happen. But I had this thought, right? What if, because there was talks of Bandai buying Metazoo or another company, if that did happen, which I don't think it will, because there's such a terrible reputation at this point for Metazoo. It's going to be so hard to bring it back. But if it did, in this hypothetical world, then the original stuff that was printed in small amounts could be seen as like real treasure, like real grails. So that's an because I've seen a lot of people go in to buy it now, and they haven't been buying for the past few years, but they want to buy it now. Like, why would you want to buy it now? It's done. It's dead. I guess I don't know. Like, are they thinking that way, or are they thinking it's going to come back?
I think I've seen enough dead TCGs still have a healthy fan base of people that are collecting and playing. So I don't think Metazoo will die.
No.
It just won't make any products. I think the people that still enjoy it, now the money side of it is kind of stripped out of it, that'll basically show who really actually cared about it and who actually generally thought it was a good product.
Yeah.
I think the cards will probably retain value. People aren't going to dump everything on the market. I've seen a lot of people buying now. I think stuff is actually starting to rebound now.
Yeah.
So, you might actually end up...
Some stuff hasn't actually gotten that cheap. I'm surprised. Like, I thought it would all go to absolute zero, personally, because if you think about the way it started, there were so many people that were in it for the money, so many like investors and NFT people. So I'm surprised that it's not completely gone to zero, because like of those people, I don't know, I guess there are some true actual fans out there of Metazoo, which we didn't think was possible, but they're real. They exist.
Yeah, they do exist. The magic is real. I think there's definitely people that do enjoy that. It'll be interesting to see where it is in a couple of years. Like, is there's still be communities of it, and it'll be interesting to see where the values and prices sit of stuff. That'll be quite good to see. Maybe you'll make some money out of it.
Yeah, maybe one day. I've got some topics, actually. I thought this would be quite interesting. Okay. I'm not sure if you spoke about this on your channel before, but you had a website at one point where you documented Korean Pokemon sets.
Yes, I did.
That's really cool. I think that's really significant, because back then, when you did that, I was buying them as well, but I wasn't active. I didn't have Instagram. I wasn't like, it was a long time ago. How long ago was that you did that? Was it like...
Oh God. 2011, 2012.
Yeah.
So yeah, many years ago. I think I as someone that's always been in the kind of collecting space, Korean cards came out, and they did like Diamond and Pearl stuff. It was like when they were able to sell Pokemon again. And I saw the boxes, and it was interesting, because what I like about other countries and other languages is them doing a product that isn't the same. I like it when they're doing... I know that a lot of other products now, I know Indonesian, I think Thai, and like Simplified Chinese, they have their own products now, which is like separate. Like, there's still artworks and cards used, but when they're not going to get the same set as like Japanese and English do. Which I thought was really cool with Korean. So that was something that interested me.
Set composition, mix of all different sets, isn't it? Korean. So
yeah, exactly. And I thought that was so cool. So I was like, oh, I'll get some. I couldn't tell you where I got them from, honestly. I found some place in Korea that was selling them, and they'd ship to the UK. So I'd just buy them in bulk, which at the time I think I paid like £10 a box.
Yeah. It was literally,
so I was just buying loads.
It was
it was
£10 a box. Like,
it was so cheap. And I did some openings, as for anyone that is interested, I'll put a link in the description. There are openings still of all the Diamond and Pearl sets, black and white sets, blisters and stuff, that I used to just open the channel. And then the website I started with a couple of friends of mine, who I did credit on the website. I still do own the website. I haven't updated it. I did update it to put Poker Team King on there, but I haven't really. I just don't have the time and kind of resources to kind of continue with it. I think where it is now, I think there's enough resources now to see what's in the new Korean sets.
Yeah.
So if people want to look back at the older ones, because it was a lot of. I was starting college at the time. I was in my last year of school. I think it was the summer when I finished school. So I started it over the summer. And I did it with a couple of friends that I knew online. One person that was good with websites. One person that was that was like half Korean, so like he was translating some stuff alongside me using like Google Translate. And it was a lot of like up till 3-4 in the morning, just trying to basically get pictures and translate stuff, because it's even back then it was very hard to find information. And even more so now, I think. So I'm kind of glad I did it. It was it was definitely it was definitely interesting, because so many people I've spoken to. Last time I checked, it was getting a couple of hundred like monthly views still. So people do still use it as reference, and the amount of Korean collectors, which is a niche in itself, but those that collect that era of Korean, I've spoken to before, and they've said, "Oh, I've used that website." Which
that's cool.
At the time, I didn't obviously, I was 16, so I was like 16, 17. I was like, I'll just make it more of a reference for myself, really. And then it kind of just became something that people can use, which is it's pretty cool.
Yeah. No, good. I want to check that out. I think I went on it when you first spoke about it years ago. I have another look at it.
Yeah. It's not polished. It's basic, but if people, it actually does get used by PSA. So when I was trying to get them to grade that Diamond and Pearl era,
thank you for that, by the way,
stuff.
That was done by you. You made them start grading that stuff, I'm pretty sure. Is that right?
Yeah. I spoke to Nat Turner and the head of research, R&D and stuff, research and development, through a email basically chain, really. Like Nat CC'd him in and said, look, can you speak to Jamie? I sent him the website, because I was like, look, I want to grade these cards, but I'm told that you won't grade them. And they were like, yeah, we don't have any information. We need enough research. And I said, well, here's my website. As much research that does exist is on this website. If that's sufficient, then let me know if you'll start grading. And they said, yeah, we'll start grading those, which was great. Back and forth on that. I've spoken since. Thankfully, Nat said the email chain is always open if I ever want to reference anything else. The promos was the next thing, because at the time they then started taking the set stuff, but they wouldn't take promos. So I tried grading a Snorlax level X, and they sent it back saying they wouldn't grade it. Then we managed to get them to, basically I sent them a photo of the blister that I have sealed with me in the photo, to prove that it does exist still. Because I kept one of each of those blisters that I could get, and then Poker Coops graded one, which I sold him one of the blisters. Unfortunately, I think it got 6, and then I've graded one since.
They're so hard to grade, aren't they?
Yeah,
DP.
They are bad. The blisters, like, it was like the Japanese blisters, but like the Japanese ones always seem to grade well. Whereas the Korean ones, I graded my Snorlax and I got an 8, so I still need to send the shiny Gyarados, because that's still pop 0. So that'll be interesting to see what that gets.
Those level X, like I pulled a few myself when I was opening back in the day. The centering, the corners, like they're not good.
Yeah,
it's straight out the pack. They're terrible. Like I don't know if there'll ever be a PSA 10 Korean level X. I can't imagine it. It'd be very, very, very.
No, I don't think so. I think the black and white stuff is a bit better. There's some 10s there, but the Diamond and Pearl stuff was their first time doing it. So it makes sense that the cards weren't as good, but
I haven't opened.
They don't grade.
I haven't opened any myself. There was Korean Ruby and Sapphire, and that was like the only one in between base set and Diamond and Pearl, I think, that they tried Korean. I think you had a pack of it, didn't you? Have you still?
Yeah, I've got packs somewhere, that I picked up cheap. I think there's still. Last time I checked, they're about 60 quid each.
Yeah.
But they're definitely interesting. I think they must have, when Nintendo got the license, they probably did that one set and then they were just like, nope. And they didn't get, which was weird. But they didn't get anything else after that. So, but yeah, Korean cards are interesting. I think there's definitely a market for them. There's definitely collectors that really enjoy them.
I love
as the other languages.
They're so low pop. I love that about it.
Yeah.
And that the same thing can be said about Indonesian, Thai. Chinese is getting really popular now though, traditional and simplified. It seems very popular. So that might be like the third. That might eventually replace Korean as like third place most popular. We'll see.
Yeah, I could see that happening.
But Korean goes way back for us, man. We've got nostalgia for Korean now.
Yeah, I think there's definitely some bits in the collection that I'll sort of never let go in terms of Korean. Like I've got one each of those, the big blisters, that I'll just keep forever because, well, not forever, that I'll end up opening them at some point, but I've kept them because I want to open them. And I've got random boxes from different sets. And I've got like loose packs and stuff because that stuff's rare now.
You got booster boxes of those sets, you say?
I've got random booster boxes of them.
Oh, wow.
And then I've got loose packs.
Yeah.
So I've kept it all because it's like basically it's all the stuff that I'm gonna want to open. Like I keep stuff that I know will gain value to sell, and then I keep stuff that's like, right, you know, I want to open this at some point. So I sort of keep it aside, and it's like it'll be interesting. Same as I did with Fab, like I kept some of the early stuff. Like some to sell, and then some because I want to relive that experience of opening it.
My problem with keeping Korean used to be that it was so cheap that you had no excuse not to open it. So like, even Sun and Moon Korean, those boxes were like £8, £9, £10. Some of them so cheap to the point where you're like, well, I can replace this easily. I'm just going to open it. And then you do, and then
you didn't.
And then try and find them now. Even Sun and Moon Korean boxes, they're just gone. There's no websites that have them. eBay, once a year you might have a couple sets come up, and that's recent as well. Like these Diamond and Pearl ones are super rare. I do wish I kept.
Yeah.
Do wish I kept some.
Yeah. I think I remember opening up a lot of the Shining Legends in Korean, and that was fun. But yeah, I bet I don't want to know what they cost now, to be honest. I bet it's quite mad.
200, 250, which is just nuts. Because I mean, they were like £10. They were so easy to acquire and open, and oops. I opened so many Korean boxes when I first got back into collecting because they were just so affordable.
Yeah, it's disgusting, isn't it?
How much are they going to go up? Surely they'll never go up.
That's what
yeah.
That's what I thought. But yeah, it's I think other languages is quite good. I think it's a good shout, the Chinese. I think I've seen is it the Eevee Heroes set they're doing something for, or they've just released something for?
They've just announced that they're going to do the simplified Chinese Eevee Heroes set and the simplified Chinese fusion arts. It'll be Fusion Strike. So I've put my name down for 2 boxes of each because I think that will be a good idea.
Yeah, I think that's cool. I think the Eevee Heroes obviously is mad, but I think Fusion Arts, Fusion Strike is a great set as well.
I love Mew. You love Mew as well, I'm sure. So
yeah,
got to stock up on that stuff.
Yeah, it's it makes me wish that I'd kept packs of Lost Link. Honestly.
Don't Lost Link. You know, there was a private sale of that box recently, 18.5 thousand euros. That's like what, like 16, 17 grand UK. I mean, it's
more than a base box.
Yeah, it's just. I mean, it's rare. It's so much rarer than a base box, though. That's the thing to consider.
Oh yeah,
infinitely more rare.
It was a short print, wasn't it, for that set?
Yeah, I wish so.
What a set.
That's like one of my biggest regrets because there was one on UK eBay in 2019 for like £120, and I had it in my basket, and I was like, I'll get that one day. In a few weeks, gone. And then none for years. Like that was it. That was my only opportunity.
Yeah, it's we all have those. I always think of the PSA 10 Mew EX from
The Mirage.
Mirage Forest.
Yeah,
Yeah.
what were you gonna say?
That I remember us talking about it, and I was gonna pick it up, and I didn't, and then it sold, and then I remember us going, oh, when we see one next, and then it just kept going up, and I never bought it, and it's that's probably one of the few regrets I have, I think, because it's such a beautiful card. I have a copy in my Mirage Forest binder, but it's like probably 8, to be honest.
Well, I mean, the PSA Pokemon market is in a decline. From what I can see, most slabs are doing pretty bad. So now might be a good time, maybe in this year.
Yeah,
point, have a look at that.
Maybe I should look into it again.
Yeah.
We've definitely seen the PSA market. That rolls into another question, actually. That do you think? Because this is quite a sort of big one there. Do you think graded cards are just a fad?
Do you know, every day that goes by, the more I think that, the more that thoughts is like popping up in my head. I don't think that it's a fad necessarily. Like I think there's always going to be people that collect them, and they're always going to be. I can't even say that. I was going to say they're always going to be worth more than raw, but that's not even true anymore. So I don't know. I'm a bit uncertain, and I think that I might stop collecting graded cards that were created after like 2014, like so XY and newer. I might just stop, because honestly those cards fresh out of pack, if in Japanese at least, are pretty much PSA 10 condition always. So there's not really anything spectacular about them to me, and they're not that impressive to me, and I don't understand why there's such a premium on them for certain cards. I'm making a very broad statement, but like I find it impressive to have a PSA 10 of a really old card, because that shows that you've looked after it for a long time, and that's when it's impressive. But something Japanese fresh out of the pack that's from 3-4 years ago, that's not impressive in a PSA 10 really. I mean, it's going to be that condition, like raw, most of the raw copies you find. So I don't really see as much point. I feel like I definitely shouldn't have spent as much money in the pandemic on graded cards, and I should have put it into sealed, but what can you do? I had a great time. I still really enjoyed my graded collection. There's a lot of cards I could never give up, but I am very tempted to get rid of a lot of the newer ones now. I'm thinking that, it's not that much of an accomplishment, is it, to have a PSA 10 of a Sun and Moon card in Japan?
No,
really,
no. That's why I've started selling and auctioning a lot of mine, I think. When I hit like 1,000 slabs, and I was like, this is too much. Like 1,000 Pokemon slabs, where most of it is not worth much more than, what they are raw, because they're modern. With English, I guess, I know English is a bit different, but even then, I mean, I know there's a premium on 10 because English cards aren't as good as Japanese, but even then, it's just like, with the inconsistencies of grading companies,
that too, you got
a 9 is
that.
A 9 and 10 are basically the same thing. It's just, it's just whoever graded it on that day.
Feeling that day, yeah, it does come down to.
So it's like, why is there such a premium between a 9 and 10 when we know, everyone in the hobby knows how inconsistent grading is, and that 9 could be a 10 and that 10 could be a 9. So I know there's a difference between value in terms of like old certs, like 2 certs, but then I've seen modern certs, like cards graded recently that got PSA 10 that I think that push it a 6 maybe, and then I've got cards that I got a card that got a 1, and I'm like, how the fuck did this get a 1? Like you have to try hard to get a PSA 1. Like, they're not easy. People bang cards in half to do it. And I'm looking at this Pikachu Pokemon Center card. I'm like, like it's not a PSA 10, but it's not a 1. It's like I thought it was an 8 or 9. But then it's like, when you talk to people, they're like, oh yeah, but that's just your opinion. It's like, well, people that are grading, clearly their opinion is very different, because we have such inconsistency. So they're basically getting paid for their opinion, but does it, if I'm getting paid to talk about, a topic that I don't know tons about, does that make me a professional just because I'm getting paid for it?
I would love to do
I don't know.
Actually, though, grading cards, I think that would actually be a really good job to do. All day, that special cards, like would be really fun.
Yeah, but then you also have to see, the Vivid Voltage Reverse Hollow Charizard like a billion times. It's like, why are people still grading this? Oh look, another base set Charizard with PSA 4. I'm sure this is going to make someone money. But yeah, I think uniqueness of cards you get to see. I'm PCG UK Premier Card Grading, who are based out of New Zealand. They're in the UK now and they're setting up. So I'm hopefully going to visit and kind of do a video on me dropping a submission off, showing them actually grading cards, and then seeing the whole like process from start to finish.
That'd be great.
Because that kind of thing interests me. I'm not going to grade Pokemon cards with them. I think just fab. I think it's grading companies. There's just so many of them now. I don't think all of them have a place. I know Get Graded now are open in the US.
Oh,
so they're expanding.
No way.
So like fair enough. Like you guys have, you got that bag. I spoke to somebody on Facebook about it, and he was like, "Oh, I think we're the only we're the only grading company to grade in more than one country." And I had to sort of correct him and say that that's not the case. I don't know with PSA. I don't know if they grade in Japan or they just got an office in Japan. I don't know if you know that yourself.
No, I was about to say I'm pretty sure they've got one in Japan, but I don't. Like you say, I don't know if it's just an office or if they grade.
Yeah.
Yeah. I'm gonna assume they do grade though, because I think when sets come out, Japanese sellers on Mercari can get those cards graded very quickly.
Graded instantly.
Yeah. So maybe.
Yeah. So that would make sense that they grade. So PSA do it. PCG grade in 5 or 6 countries now with the UK.
I don't even think it's a massive flex though, being able to say that you grade in multiple countries, because that opens the door for more inconsistencies, like you say. Like that's different.
That's the thing.
Yeah, so that's troublesome. I don't know if I even
that's a conversation that I've had. Obviously, like with PCG, they grade in multiple countries, but they're like flesh and bloods, and I've seen inconsistency already with that. So
yeah,
but yeah, it's interesting to see. Right, I think we're on just over an hour now, so I think we'll wrap that up. I know there's probably a lot more we could say. We could sit here for about 3 hours, I think, honestly, and talk. And I'd definitely like to do another episode for this. But is there anything else that you wanted to kind of end on?
No, not really. I mean, you could. I've got loads of notes. Like I said, we've got the Lenticular Deoxys deck story. Maybe we can save it for next time if you want.
Yeah, we'll do a second part for sure. I'm just worried about time. But we'll do it. We'll definitely do a second part. So I'd like to get. I'd definitely like to try and get Joe on.
That'd be good. Yeah.
Because we could talk about grading and how he gets PSA 10 on everything. So.
Yeah. Every pack I sell him, he pulls the best card as well. He can possibly get. Don't know how he does it.
He does it. Everything that I've ever sent him has got 10s, and I'm like, he's like, oh, it just got a 10. I'm like, oh, cool. And then I'm like, I wish I had graded that myself.
Yeah.
But yeah, it's part of the game, isn't it? Right. It's good to see people getting 10s with like Japanese. It proves the quality of the cards.
Yeah.
But yeah, anyway, thank you for coming on. Appreciate your time. Thank you all for watching. Please comment, like, subscribe as always. There'll be a link in the description to Max's channel below. There's some really, really good content. I really enjoyed your ranking of the Wizard of the Coast set.
Oh, thank you.
I'm looking forward to the EX Era one, especially for me as an EX Era fan. But yeah, thank you all for watching. Please comment, subscribe as always, and have a great day.